This is Reseller Wake Up, episode 163. It's Friday, everybody. How's everybody's week been? Hope it went smooth. Everybody's killing it out there. I think my sales seem to be pretty steady, but what about y'all? Seeing that quarter 4 bump starting to kick in yet, or
No.
dragging?
My sales are like dead.
I've gotten a package in Amazon. It got accepted and immediately juked sales. So.
Yeah, that seems to be the trick. It's kind of like eBay, you know. If you list a bunch of stuff, then you magically get sales. When something hits when your shipment hits the warehouse, you just magically get a bunch of sales at Amazon. It's funny how that works.
I have a shipment that checked in last night, so I'm like waiting. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get sales. I'm like,
yeah, I just had one check in yesterday, and then I've got this other one that I'm gonna be dropping off in the mail today. It's another 100 items or so. And it should all fit in like one little box like that big. It's all DVDs or not DVDs, but like video games and stuff. But yeah, looking forward to the next few months for sure. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today is Q4. I've been meaning to do a show on it for a while, and it's coming quick. And we're probably gonna be talking about it a lot over the next few months, since it's kind of like the hot button conversation.
We were just talking about how was your Q4, and now we're back to talking about Q4 again.
I know, right?
Oh.
That's kind of just how it goes around here.
Right.
But so everybody in the chat, good morning. Let's see who all we see. Fat like Nick, free. Craig's in there. Joni Kramer, Doreen, Wade. King's all here, but. Yeah, so have you guys been preparing at all for Q4 yet, or is it like one of those where you kind of wait for it to come? I don't think it's Q4 yet, isn't it? Q4 starts in October.
Correct.
Yeah, we got one more month till it's official. There's 12 months in a year. 12 divided by 4 is 3. October, November, December is Q4. Yeah?
I am using Common Core mathematics.
Start in July.
Can I mute him?
Yeah, just in case anybody
for 9 years I have said I'm going to be involved in Q4, and this is the first year I actually got on board. I called one of my suppliers, and they said, hey, we got this product from Christmas last year, and there's a new design coming out. We have 1,200 pieces of this that we'll sell to you for so much money, and I'm like, send them to me. I've already listed them on Amazon and shipped them in, and I'm done with Q4. That's it. That's what I'm doing for Q4. I'm not getting in on the Star Wars or Minions or any of that.
You know, last year for Q4, I had got started really late. I mean, my first sale on Amazon was September 20th, 2014. That was the first thing that I sold, period. So, I mean, I got started, like, in the middle of Q4. I had nothing set up. I had nothing nothing ready to go. I just had no idea what I was doing. But I was just taking everybody's advice. And, you know, I mean, the first couple shipments that I did weren't even Q4. It wasn't even like the kind of stuff that you would think. But I started hitting up the Walgreens a lot, and I started going to like Ross and like a lot of those discount stores, just picking up cheap toys. And I mean, for not having any inventory, everything was selling for sure. I mean, right now my inventory is built up pretty good still. We'll see how it goes. But I mean, video games sold great last year. Stuff that was selling for, you know, like right now I can barely get $50 for a Wii, but I mean by November, December, if it's like last year, I'll be getting $150 for them again. But
the thing with Q4 is sales rank. Let's take toys for instance. Sales rank still means something, but it means a little. Oh, good morning, by the way. Means a little less. Like if you have an item. I'm just going to throw out some. These aren't even accurate numbers, but I'm just kind of giving an example of how the math works. If you have an item that's ranked 10,000 in toys, and you're the only seller on it, for instance, it might sell during most months of the year. You might sell 2 or 3 units a day, or one every other day, or whatever. You know, it's going to sell at a decent little rate. If you have a rank at 100,000 in toys, it might sell once a month. But when you get to fourth quarter, there's so much more volume. Those 2 toys that I took as examples may keep their same rank, but that may now mean that the 10,000 sales ranking one, does that make sense? Because sales ranking is all proportionate to all the other items in that category. So that 10,000 one may sell 20 a day, and the 100,000 one may actually sell 2 or 3 a day now. So you kind of, and that's not totally not accurate, but like even your 80,000, 100,000 items, don't let those scare you off because of the rank in fourth quarter, because that's actually, because of the massive amounts of toys being bought in that category, that's still not a bad sales rank.
Because of quarter 4, I consider basically anything under 500K in toys to be completely fine, and unless it's a giant like boxed item or something, I'm not going to send that in February if I expect it to sell in December. But you know, if I can get something like that that's listed on Amazon for $200 and it's $10 at a garage sale, I'll buy it and I'll stick it in a closet for 8 months, and then you know, quarter 4 comes around, then I'll start sending that stuff in. But that's definitely true, though. I mean, the ranking, it doesn't mean as much to me in the toys category as some others. You know, like video games, I don't like selling anything that's over like 20K in video games. You know, and even 20,000, it could sit there forever. But,
no, that doesn't just, like I said, that doesn't just apply, I guess this should have been more, but that doesn't just apply to the toy category, but since that's pretty much Amazon's biggest category during, you know, fourth quarter, for the most part, you see bigger numbers. You have to take that whole picture of sales rank and kind of do it on a larger scale. But yeah, people buy, dude, I had Zuzu pets, not last, shit, what year is this? 2015, 2014, 2013, fourth quarter, Christmas of 2013. I was in the Walmart here, and they had just pushed up front. There was like this little table full of the Zuzu pet, but they were the add-ons for the big Zuzu pet hamster cage or whatever. Like one was a drive-in movie theater, and one was I don't remember, a restaurant or something. But they put a sign on them and they said 25 cents each. I was like, there's no way that's right. And I turned to the girl behind me that was kind of overseeing all the cash registers, the one that always kind of stands there and watches what's going on. I was like, what's the deal on that? She goes, we just put them out. And I said, good, I'll take them all. Can you use, like, you know, let me get a cart. And I'm like screaming for my wife. She goes, actually, let me radio the manager because I think there's a bunch more in the back he just dug out. Turns out they have a whole entire pallet of them. There's like 5 different varieties of that toy.
They
Rank was
probably
100.
were like a Black Friday supposedly supposed to be, and what happens with Walmart and stuff is they have those pallets and they don't show up on time. They never make it on the floor. They just sit back there in the rafters.
I mean, Zuzu Pet's not a hot toy. It's been around for several years, but it's kind of stuck.
What I'm saying, it was probably from a time before.
Yeah, like Black Friday 2010
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, in the rank, I look them up, and the rank's like one of the, there's like I said, there's 5 varieties. One's like 25,000, one's like 80,000, and then the other 3 are like 100 to 125,000. I bought every single one of those. There were like 600 or 700 units. I mean, but a quarter a piece, it wasn't squat. Took 3 trips in my wife's Jetta, but to get them all home. I sold every single one of them during fourth quarter for like anywhere between $17.99 a piece and $22.99 a piece.
yeah.
So I mean, even that. My point with all that was because when I was buying them, I'm thinking, okay, it's only a quarter. You know, not a big deal. I'm out $150. You know, even if I can sell 6 of them at $25 a piece, I'll have my money back. But I was still kind of hesitant because of the rank. But man, they sold. I mean, because people buy anything.
Oh yeah. And just the fact that it's a toy, it's like, oh, look at how cute that is, and then they just boom, buy it. They got nothing better to do in the snow when it's snowing outside than to sit there in front of Amazon and buy stuff. But yeah, I don't think they sell those used. But yeah, so like as far as last quarter for the year, I mean, some of you guys have been Dusty. You had dozens of quarter fours to deal with. And Deb, how many years have you been paying attention to quarter four? Like for me, the first couple of years I sold, I wasn't in the Facebook groups. I wasn't following anything. I was basically just doing my own thing. I was listing whatever sold, and I noticed big sales jumps in the fourth quarter, but I never paid attention to it. I was like, oh, cool, whatever.
Yeah, last year I think was the first year I even like heard about quarter four, like where it was like in my ear all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's just because I started getting into a circle of Amazon people, which Amazon people quarter four is like a big deal.
Right.
Prior to that, with eBay, being in like eBay, areas, it was like they talked about quarter four. I don't think I ever even heard that term. Because I was in groups that were they were eBay. They were not Amazon sellers, So it wasn't until last year that I even started hearing about it, but I still didn't like ramp up anything, or I didn't change anything. There wasn't anything that changed about my business, that made quarter four like different for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think 2013 was probably my best quarter four because I was focused 100% on eBay, and I had ramped up everything to the point where like the stuff that I was focused on and the stuff that I sold, I basically had like almost endless supplies. I was like, there was a local DVD store that was selling me DVDs really cheap. They would I don't know where they were getting them, but they were buying like wholesale lots, and they would let me get in on them so that they could buy more, basically, and get their prices down. And I was doing good with those. I was probably selling like 20 copies of Frozen a day sometimes. I would literally have I'd go there and they'd sell me 100 copies of Frozen. Okay, whatever. Like the year that it was like brand new and hot, and I wasn't making hardly any money on them. I think I was paying like $15 or $20 a piece, and I was probably selling them for 30, but it's still a decent return considering that they sell as fast as you list them. Yeah, like when they sell immediately, then it's not a big deal. I don't mind making just a few dollars, but that was just one of the things, is among other things. But last year, though, I feel like I was just too focused on getting into Amazon and figuring it out, and eBay I wasn't really doing as much. I was still taking eBay seriously, but it was not like this year. My eBay is going to be horrible during quarter four. I still haven't gotten back into it like I used to be. But what about you guys? Dusty, do you feel like the longer you've been doing this, the better every quarter four gets, or are you just at that point where it's like, I know what I'm doing and it is what it is?
In all honesty, the more I've been doing this, the more I've seen increased competition, and I think this year I saw a lot more, almost to the point of where, it definitely changed my business model last year. There's a lot of things I did last year I'm not going to do again because I ended up in the race to the bottom. There's so many more people doing retail arbitrage. Mike McCluskey because he and I were kind of on the same page, doing similar stuff, sharing tips and hanging in hangouts together last year, so he may be able to expound upon it some more. But me personally, I saw you had to be first in or last out basically on stuff, because if you're doing retail arbitrage for a major chain store, there was such increased competition. I think this year is just going to be that much worse. Mm-hmm. I'm not a person to chase. There probably won't be a Minions thing in my inventory unless I came across some of them that were older stock from a couple years ago, previous generations of Minions. Star Wars, they are restricting anyhow on the new Star Wars movie related stuff, unless you're pre-approved, and you're not going to get pre-approved.
George Lucas told me I could sell those bastards.
Unless you're a multi-million-dollar seller, you're with wholesale invoices from who does Star Wars, Hasbro or whoever.
You got to have actual. They are not taking receipts.
Yeah, you're not going to send them a CVS receipt where you bought 3 Star Wars toys and it didn't work. So I think for me, I'm going to change my model. I'm not going to chase the retail arbitrage stuff. It ended up being, I'm not going to say it wasn't profitable, but for the amount of work that I did, it's dog eat dog. And unless you got some really deep pockets, the only thing that got me through fourth quarter last year was the fact that I got daily disbursements because I'm on an older type account. So I had money coming back into my checking account 5 business days a week. If I didn't have that, there's no way I would have been able to do that amount of stuff, only getting a disbursement twice a month. So you either got to have some bankroll and be willing to take lesser profit margins if you're going to do the retail arbitrage aspect of it, in my opinion. And like I said, Mike may disagree, but you got to have some serious money, you know.
Yeah, I mean to get serious on Amazon. I feel like you do have to. I mean, one of the things that you hear a lot of people say, it's like, if I'm selling something on eBay, I want to get 10 times my money or 5 times my money. If I'm selling something on Amazon, I want to get double my money or triple my money. You know, and people are willing. I don't know why people. Well, I know why people are willing to take more, like, lower profit margins on Amazon, because they feel like they can just look at the ranking and see the sales history, and they know for sure that it'll sell for this price. On eBay, it's always a crapshoot, it seems like. I mean, unless it's a really hot item, then you never really know if it's going to sell or not. So you want to take a chance on 20 different things and then sell 2 of them and then make money on what you put out for all 20 things, you know? I mean, that's kind of the way that I do it. But
were we talking on the show, or was that during like an after show that we were talking about how some of the larger sellers, their profit margins are really low, somewhere anywhere between 5 and 15%?
yeah, we talk about that a lot here.
Yeah.
On the show.
There's others that are doing a lot better than that. I've been watching those guys from Kentucky, the wholesale formula guys, and they're like at 30-35%.
That's awesome. Yeah, I always get really, like, I see these really big sellers and I see their stuff and I'm like, I don't understand. You're spending $20 and you're making $5. You know, like, I don't. That's like the reverse of how I want to do business. But you have to. I understand the volume of it, you know. But in my little brain, that's not the way I do things. You know? But I'm also not rich, so I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah, but then again, that's usually the sellers that have access to some credit, or they have business credit, or they have money to start with.
I mean, if you have, go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
That's for the volume sellers, which I'm not, so that doesn't apply to me, you, Deb, or John.
I had 5 of those.
The thing is, if you have that same amount of cash, let's say you have $100,000 or $500,000 or whatever sitting in the bank, you're not getting more than 2 or 3% on that money. So if you get 15 or 20 on it just by flipping stuff on Amazon, obviously, and it's working out, you're not really doing much, then it just makes sense. It's like putting the money into a bank account that's making you 15 or 20% instead of.
I sat on money for the first 4 months of this year, looking for the 100%, the 75-80%, and July I started dumping my money in anything and everything, and I have done. I got products that make 15%.
Right.
But it's a matter of I bring it in, I stick it in another box, and it goes out. And it's instant money, and it's an item that has 3 years of sales rank, and it's under 5,000, and they just sell out continuously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is that if you can leverage things, so, like I go back to the real estate thing. A 20% deal in real estate is amazing. Yeah. Especially if you can leverage the dollars, and you only pay $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 down. Now you're quadrupling your money, even though you made 20% on a $100,000 house. You only put $5,000 or $6,000 down. You risk $60,000 or $70,000 or whatever, but the return is still 20% on your $5,000 or $6,000, and it's the same thing if you do this. If you're risking someone else's money to do selling on Amazon or whatever, then you're still essentially you're making 20%, but you're really quadrupling your money because you only put so much of your own cash into it. Right. The rest of it is somebody else's money.
Right, and I mean I'm kind of in the boat where, I've got a pretty good chunk that I'm sitting on that I could definitely go out there and not feel bad about spending $500 on some product and then get, a $200 return on it or whatever once everything's taken care of, and it wouldn't bother me at all. But I don't know, just nervous about it because there's too many things that I've sent in that I thought would sell, they didn't, and like when I dropped the price on those things, now instead of getting a 100% return that I thought, maybe I'm only getting a 70% return or a 50% return, and I mean, like when I'm at Ross, for example, this is a perfect example because I go there once a week. I'm always I scan all the toy section, and I'm always finding stuff that's I could make a 20% return on stuff all day. I mean, I could fill 2 or 3 carts up every time I go in there and make 20 or 30%, but I'm not going to pay $20 for something that's selling for 30 or 32, or I'm not paying $10 for something that's selling for like 18 on Amazon, and then after the fees, you only have a couple bucks that you're putting away. But if I was going to that Ross and then the next Ross and then the next Ross and hitting like a dozen of them in a day, and I could knock those out and spend $1,000 and then get $2,000 once a week, that ends up being $400 or $500 for one day of work. Now, I mean, I can see why people do it, and it's definitely not against it. I just, I don't know. I like finding those home runs, and I'm pretty good at it.
Stores.
What's that?
I only shop at 2 stores.
Yeah.
And I have and here's the thing about shopping when you get into the niche of things like that. Mike knows a lot of the products that I have. But I keep finding products. I got one right now. I sent in 12 items. It's an 800% return.
Wow.
And it landed and sold. It left here on Monday, got to Delaware on Tuesday, was on Amazon shelf Wednesday. By Wednesday afternoon, they were gone. 800%.
Very nice.
And nobody would have found, I would never have looked at that product if I wasn't in that store 100 times a week.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, so what was it?
I think what works for me, and it's kind of like Paul said a minute
You want to
ago.
see them? Here.
No, I don't. Stop showing your shit.
If I could go out in a day and spend...
Wait. Stay for the after show, then you can show us. Go ahead, Dusty.
It's kind of like I'll use the example you did, like especially with fourth quarter. If I go out, let's say I spend $500 on that trip out that day. I do my kind of mental accounting, mental math a little different than probably most people. If I spend $500, buy a carload full of stuff for fourth quarter, and it's multiple different types of items, but I know that I have 3 or 4 fast sellers in there that'll get me my money back, let's say, for instance. Send all that into Amazon, that's my money back. Then the rest of it is kind of, to me, is kind of residual income. Because if I sell this real quick, I'll have it back into my bank account fairly quick, usually within a week. I take that 500, I flip it again, and I roll it. In the meantime, I'm building inventory of slower selling stuff, but stuff that is going to sell, and all that to me is kind of residual income. So I kind of, you have to, with me, I'm not going to say you have to, I guess I just did, but I just, if you have a good mix of stuff, don't be dependent solely on the fast sellers, but at the same time, don't tie all your money up in the long tail stuff necessarily. Just kind of have a mix of stuff, so you're constantly having that. Let's $500 as an example. You're constantly having that $500 rolling over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at now. I mean, I try to make sure that I have a certain amount set aside, and then like my bank account doesn't fall below that, and that's how I kind of budget my money for sourcing and for bills and everything. I just make sure that whatever I make, I'm above that number, and then whatever's kind of left over, that's what I can go out and spend. But
yeah,
I don't have a budget on things that I really should, but like the minute that I was like, okay, I'm only gonna spend this amount of money, then you walk in the store and it's like, oh, and you're like, oh yeah, that went out the door. Like, go get more money. It just didn't work.
yeah, I mean, I'm not like budgeting myself to $10 here. Okay, if I walk into Goodwill, it's gonna be really hard for me to blow my budget. But
What's hard is there's like a store here. I was at it yesterday, and I got some really great stuff. it's cash only.
Hmm.
And like that's so hard for me because like every time I go in there, I'm like, okay, I got this much money, and then I go in there and I'm like, oh man, and then I have to go and use their stupid ATM that they have that charges me $3 to get more money.
See, that's not a huge. I normally I don't keep money on PayPal. I do it. I know Deb. We've talked about this. You're a little different, maybe.
I
but
do. I keep all my money in there. Yeah.
I don't keep money in PayPal. I pull it out in cash at the ATM when I get enough. You know, the limit's $400 a day. I'll either pay a bill with it using the PayPal debit card, or I'll wait till I get $300 or $400 and I'll pay the couple bucks at an ATM because a lot of my stores are cash only, and that way I always have some cash on me, or for yard sales or whatever.
Yard sales especially. I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a yard sale. It's like I'm just kind of not planning on doing any yard sales, but I drive by 10 yard sale signs. It's like, man, they're out today. I got to go and check them. And then I start checking. It's like, oh, I will be right back. And I'm running to the nearest ATM. I could care less if they charge me $20 to take that money out. Because there's a box of something sitting there that they're asking $10 for that I'm going to make $1,000 on. It's like, oh, yeah, whatever. Take my money. Just give it to me. And I'm back, you know.
And it seems like every time you go, like 1 week you're like, I'll just take $50, $60 out. I'll do the yard sales, and you're like, damn, I ran out of money. All right, this week I'm going to take $100. Damn, I ran out of money. It's like, well, this time I'm taking $200. There's no way I spent $200 too. I don't know how the hell I do it.
Yeah, I think I outed myself finally as a reseller at that little thrift store. Last time when I used to buy plush from there, when I used to sell plush, that was where I went. I mean, because they would sell bags of it for $1.99, and I would go fill up my car. And they would always ask me, you know, what it was for, and I tell them, oh, well, it's for donation, because I would donate the ones I didn't like. And they're like, oh, that's awesome, and I'm like, yeah, it totally is. And then but then yesterday they had like 14 pairs of like thigh high support hose, and I was just like, yeah, I'll take all those. And like I'm not a medium, you know what I mean? So they know that I'm me. Yeah, so I think I outed myself yesterday. But
you know what? I run a brothel.
Yeah, and the girls, they're on their feet a lot, so they need the support hose help with.
I'm always totally open and on. Well, at garage sales, I don't really talk, but like any of my places that I'm at all the time, pawn shops, thrift stores, whatever, I'm 100% open and honest. I tell them exactly what I do. I'll sit there and scan stuff right in front of them. Like this pawn shop that I went to the other day that I made that haul video on. By the way, if you didn't watch that haul video, I posted on Tuesday. Go check it out. I was talking to one of the girls there that I always deal with, and I'm sitting there going through everything. I'm like, look, I don't have data on my phone right now. I don't know what's wrong. I can't look any of the prices up. I mean, I got an idea, but I mean, I got to be sure. And she's like, oh, don't worry about it. Just let me know what you want to pay. I was like, okay. And I mean, I'm not like, oh, well, I can give you $1 for this and 50 cents for that. You know, I'm giving them fair prices. But she came at me like $90 for one stack of something. I'm like, there's no way. I mean, I could do like 35. It's like, okay, fine, 35. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so,
see,
I mean, once you get that rapport up and they know what you're doing, they understand it, and yeah, that looks awesome. Like,
that's cool, Mike.
Mike, what do you need? $5 for it?
Shit, I'll take it.
Yeah, I don't tell people unless they ask. Like sometimes I've been at the store and when I had a whole cart full of stuff, they're like, "Oh, what do you have a store or something?" And I'm like, "Yep." But I don't elaborate because there's a lot of competition around here and they can get ugly, you know. So I just leave it.
I think everybody, all the people in the stores that ask me about it, they're always cool about it. You know, they're always really. I mean, we start talking, and I've never had a bad.
Yeah, when they have like sellers here, you know, resellers that are buying things, then they feel like their prices are too low because they're like, oh, well, if they can buy things and still make a profit, then we need to raise the price.
They don't do that around here.
Yeah,
I mean, I know better.
They're very.
I don't mind when they raise the prices around here because then it just sits there until it goes to half off, and if it's still too high, then I'll just sit there another week, and then it'll be 99 cents the next week, and I'll just make sure that I'm there on Sunday when the price goes down to $1, and I'll snag it then. So, I mean, the Goodwills around here, like 90% of my sourcing is at Goodwill. Well, no, I can't say that. I spend 90% of my sourcing time in Goodwill. Probably about half of what I sell is from pawn shops, but, you know, I'll go to, what do you got there? Oh, is it $35? $33.98. Nice.
Here's my profit for my. I spent 25 cents on that game.
Can't do that leaving your money sitting in the bank.
Awesome.
And it's ranked 4,000.
So it's gonna sell really fast.
When I do get a question asked by either, usually it's another customer, it's about 8 times out of 10, 7 times out of 10, it's, do you have a store? And I've gotten out of where I go, yeah, I do, and they're like, where's it at? And I'm like, oh, it's an online
It's my house.
I just do online retail.
Online store. Oh, okay, and then they just look confused and walk away. And I'm like,
I've
okay.
used the term online retail a lot lately.
Oh, I tell them it's on Amazon.
I don't tell them where I sell it. I don't tell them what my website is. I just tell them, yeah, I do online retail. And they're, oh, that's cool.
I tell them it's on Amazon. I give them my eBay address. I show them how much money I get from Amazon. Look, I love to show managers this. I go, here, this is what I'm getting. See, I'm making money off of you. I'm different than everybody. I'm very, first of all, when I walk in the store, you can't miss me. I'm a little, I'm 150 pounds overweight and I'm loud.
Yeah.
So it's not like I go I'm the same here as I am in the store, as I am in Goodwill, wherever I am. So I found that the honesty part is the best part for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
I sent pizzas to my Dollar Tree. They trip over themselves to help me when I get to the store. I sent them lunch like 2 months ago, and they trip over each other's to help me when I get to the store. They load my car for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm like John too. I'm kind of loud. And the stores that I normally go to, they know me. They see us coming, man. I even have one store that I go to. One of the guys will come around with a cart, like a second cart, for us to pick up more stuff. Nice.
Yeah. I mean, that's how most of the pawn shops around here that I frequent are. Like, I only stop in like once a month, but I'm like their liquidator guy. I walk in and I just buy everything that I want that's been sitting there for 2 or 3 months. And then like there's always some new stuff that just came out that I can do too. But I mean, I just snag up all this stuff, like this Yeti microphone. I bought this for $30. At a pawn shop. And this. My camera, it's a $150 camera. I got it for $25. And I mean, it's just
never sourced a pawn shop ever.
I love pawn shops.
I tried to, because I know like there's stuff there. I tried to do it. I went in looking for like a video game, and then they didn't want to like negotiate with me, so I just left.
Pawn shops are definitely, and Paul does it, a lot more than I do. Obviously, I haven't done it in years, but I started out doing a lot of. They're hit or miss. It depends on if it's a chain, but even some of the chains will deal with you depending on what their policy is. And I think it was Cash America I was dealing with years ago. Their store managers had a quota to meet. So if you went in at the end of the month, the last 3 days of the month, some of the pawn shops, some of them use similar software, and if you can learn how to read their labels, there's a date coded in there of the date it came in. You can also look at the label if it's got a lot of dust, a lot of dirt. It's been on there for a long time. Mm-hmm. And then there's some independent pawn shops that just simply don't care how long it's been there. They obviously don't need the money, or the guy running it's done it for 30 years, and they're not going to deal with you. So
those are the worst.
But pawn shops are one of those you kind of have to let them know you're a reseller.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, they're not going to deal with you.
Right.
I mean, that's been my experience.
And when you walk in there and the conversation changes as they start to realize what you're doing. When I walk in there and I'm like, so how much is an Xbox 360? Oh, I think we're doing 120 of them or 120 on them right now. Blah blah blah. It's like, okay, what if I buy like 30 of them and 20 Wii's and 20 PS3s?
Cash.
Yeah, and I've got cash in my pocket. Now all of a sudden they're like, let's go see what we paid for everything. And then they'll go through every single one, and it's like, well, we can do 20 on this one, we can do 25 on this one, we can do 15 on this one, and I might be there for an hour, but I dropped $500 on $3,000 worth of inventory just like that, because
they're used to dealing with, and I hate to use this term, but they're used to dealing with tire kickers and crackheads all day long, and then when you walk in and you kind of let them know you're in the same business, and you kind of have that. All of a sudden, it kind of establishes this different level with them, and yeah, they totally become. I bought 25 electric guitars one time.
Yeah.
From a pawn shop. I don't know the damn first thing about electric guitars, but I knew that there was a Yamaha bass in there and another one that I could sell to get all my money back.
You know, it's funny. I went to this thrift store. There's a thrift store, like a little mom and pop, that I really like. They used to be great when they first opened. I showed up there when they were setting up, and they came to me with a lot of questions and stuff. And I mean, they would let me go in the back room and just buy stuff when they first opened, and they'd give me like dirt prices on everything. Now they know the values of stuff. They've been in business for long enough. I can't do that with them anymore. But I remember one time they had this Yamaha bass sitting there, and this is what made me think about it. And he wanted like $200 for it. I'm like, look, dude, I mean, I can give you like $50 for it. It's like, yeah, okay, that's fine. So I give him the $50. I walked next door to the pawn shop and sold it to him 2 minutes later for $150. You know, and it's like, and I could have gotten $300 if I would have put it on eBay, but I'm like, yeah, it's a big item, costs a lot to ship. I'll just take the quick nickel on this one. And then of course I turned that $150 into, you know, however much, just buying crap from the pawn shop. But
I've been watching some of Rakin. I don't know if you guys are paying attention to him. He's like doing this whole traveling across the East Coast deal.
Yeah.
And I think he was in like some terrible areas, thrift stores and this and that, and some of his best deals have come from pawn shops. That's why I was like, well, I think about looking at them now. And makes sense what Dusty's saying to, you know, kind of just tell what both of you guys are saying about telling them that you're a reseller and this and that.
I mean, that's one store you don't have to be afraid of it, in my opinion.
The thing is, that's when you're in a bad area, the items that they're paying just cash for them, and the people are willing to take a lower price. You know, it's like, okay, well, I have this. All right, well, we'll give you $12. You know, as opposed to the people that they're lending money to that are trying to pay it back, they might end up paying more money out up front for it than the ones that they just buy outright from.
And a lot of times they'll get half of it paid back before the person can't buy or can't continue to pay for it. So now, yeah, they gave them $50 for this item, but the person paid them $40 back and still owed another $35 on the loan or whatever when they missed it. And then they just forget about it or whatever, and now all of a sudden it's like, okay, it goes out and they really don't have anything in it, you know, so they're going to sell that thing cheap if it sits there for, you know, if it's something they're trying to get $150 for, it might sit there for 3 or 4 months and nobody's even interested because they just see that price tag, and then you talk to them and it's like, oh yeah, I'll give you $50 for them. Okay, that's cool.
And once you get your foot kind of in the door with a pawn shop, another strategy you can kind of do is they all have lists of things that are coming out, what they call coming out that day, items that didn't get picked up, you know, because every day it's like a rolling thing. They have to hold it for X amount of days, run police reports, whatever, or somebody quit paying on the loan and then it comes out on a certain day. So every day they're going to have basically, I mean, most of them are computerized, but probably 1 or 2 out there that still use a Rolodex, but they'll have a computerized list of things that are coming out that day. And if you get a good enough relationship with them, you say, hey, what do you have coming out today? And I've seen them, they've pulled out the list with me and said, okay, we got all this stuff coming out.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is there a difference, and if so, which one's better, good neighborhood or bad neighborhood?
That doesn't matter
Doesn't
at
matter.
all. It's not like a thrift store or garage. Like garage sales, I have better luck at crappy neighborhoods, like bad neighborhoods, rundown neighborhoods, than I do in nice neighborhoods. I mean, every once you find that home run, like the really kick-ass garage sale where you know, they're just really actually trying to get rid of everything in the nice neighborhoods, but it's a lot more rare. You know, if you go to the trashy neighborhoods, you can start digging around a little bit. It's not presented as well. Everything's cheaper, but you find stuff all the time. That's where I find like the PS2 with a box of 50 games for $10 or, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, people.
The hustle, though.
What's that?
They're the ones in the badder neighborhoods, and you know, I'm not trying to stereotype, but the badder neighborhoods are where the people are looking to get a few bucks.
And plus, they probably
care less if they get their money if you buy it or not.
And plus, they probably didn't pay as much for it. They probably didn't buy it brand new. They probably don't even know what the stuff costs brand new. You know, I mean, if you're buying stuff from garage sales yourself or thrift stores, I mean, I'll go to the weigh and pay. Half the people in the weigh and pay around me are just buying stuff for a garage sale because they want to have a garage sale that weekend. They'll fill up a cart and then they'll have a garage sale. You know, and I mean,
for thrifting for Amazon and yard selling for Amazon, I've found, at least around here, the higher end neighborhoods tend to have a lot more newer stuff, like new stuff that unopened things, and plenty of electronics. Like most of my electronics come from the good neighborhoods. But on the flip side of that, there are things like Legos and those types of things that people really don't know what they have in the bad neighborhoods or the not so great neighborhoods, and clothing is really good there too because they don't know what they have. I think I did a video, maybe I didn't, or I talked about it, but I found a suit. It was a $150 suit that I sold on eBay. I paid $5 for the suit, sold it for $150, but the funny thing is there was like $12 in the pocket. I know I talked about it. I can't remember if it was on a video or whatever.
Yeah. I saw a picture in the thrifting lounge of somebody. They bought a suit at a garage sale and they pulled a Rolex out of the pocket, a vintage Rolex. Yeah, that's amazing. But
I was actually, when I bought that thing, I was actually scared at the yard sale. I was kind of like, there was some, cholo-looking guys standing. The suit was all like super, nice and stuff. I was like, yeah, I was kind of scared.
Little worried.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Q4. Like, we want to, I don't know, pawn shop sourcing. I guess that would be a pretty cool topic to have sometime in the future because I could go on all day about stories and some of the scores that I've hit on them and just kind of how I got some of the deals that I've gotten. But I mean, that's where I get the most of my, like, I pay a lot more, but it's like $100 into $1,000 or $500 into $5,000 type stuff at pawn shops.
Wow.
Checking out pawn shops around here. There's even one of them that has it set up right up front for eBay, and I need to kind of try to find that seller name to see what they put on eBay. But I've been going in there getting my face known, basically. Talk with them a little bit, and hey, have a nice day, then I'm out of there. Because I really don't see the deals yet, but I'm going to get to talking to them.
Yeah, you're not going to see the deals most of the time looking at the prices. You've got to know how to read the tags.
So, not chains either. These are not chains at all. These are independent shops.
Oh, those are the worst. I stay out of independent pawn shops. If they're not chained, those people are married to their stuff. They know how much they paid for everything. They know how much they want to get for everything. They're not willing to negotiate. The people, I mean, you're just dealing with somebody making $10 an hour who gets like a 5% commission at the other pawn shops, and they know what they can get away with. So those are the ones that I want to deal with. I don't want to deal with somebody who owns the shop, who owns everything, no, that ain't. Those people are like, they've got the same mentality that I do.
It's not real hard to read most pawn shop tags. There will usually be a long serial number, and if you see 2015, that's a good indication that there's a date hidden in there somewhere because that stands for 2015. Or if you see 15, kind of start looking at the numbers on either side of that. Some of them use the, what is it called, the Julian system, or not the numbered system where they put the day of the year 1 through 365, but some of them are really, and like I said, there's other hints on tags. If it's dirty, it's greasy, there's dust on it, it's faded. To me, that's an item they're going to probably deal with you on because it's been there a while.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to check out some pawn shops.
Yeah.
I'm fighting the urge this weekend to go out and thrift. I have a lot of stuff to list, so.
Yeah, I've got to get this.
You're not making any money.
Before I go anywhere today, I'm gonna get this Amazon shipment packed up and shipped out. Today's D-Day. I got to get my shipment done every Friday. That's what I've been telling myself. I've been pretty good about it. I skipped 1 week, and then I ended up looking at that stuff for another week without adding anything to it. The next Friday rolled around, and it was like 20 items. I just shipped them out. I was like, screw it. I'm not going to wait until this gets
labels
full enough.
my shipment for today.
Yeah. Yeah, mine don't look quite like that, but I do
Mine,
mine. Mine's a lot of one-offs, so I print a label, stick it on, print a label, stick it on, but I don't print them all out and then put them on. But back to quarter four. What are you guys? So what's everybody doing to kind of get ready for it right now? I mean, you already talked about what you did, John. What about? I mean, Dusty, are you even thinking about it at the moment, or are you just whatever?
I mean, no. I mean, that's with me. I don't have the funds to sit and buy everything now and hold on to everything until at least Black Friday or when sales pick up, which is like mid-November ish. So I'll wait till a little. I just keep doing what I do. Keep doing what I do, and then I probably will shift a little more at the beginning of November, depending on where my bankroll is, and start looking more at toys. And I don't do any toys the other 9 months out of the year. I mean, unless I just happen across them, but I don't do massive amounts of toys.
Yeah, I don't pay retail for toys. I buy them all the time at
There you go.
Goodwill, but
I don't pay retail for anything.
That's the shipment for today.
sheesh,
empty boxes, huh?
Only 9.
9 boxes. Yeah, mine is probably gonna be like 1, maybe 2 boxes, but it's all stuff that's like that thin and that by that. DVD cases, basically. And then a couple coffee makers and stuff. I've been doing pretty good with used coffee makers. They sell. Just make sure they're in good shape.
Well, Deb left you as competition. She don't part them out anymore.
Well, she was never my competition. I don't part stuff out very often. I've done it. I've dabbled. Like I said, it's just something that I tried out, and it's decent money, especially if you're trying to squeeze every dollar. Like if you're one of those people that has a $50 a month budget to go thrifting, then yeah, it's great. I mean, you're gonna turn. You buy a coffee maker for $10, you can part it out for 60, or you can sell the whole thing for 30. I mean, if you're just getting started and you're really really limited, then it's something you can do. It's just one way to make as much as possible. But me, I just like to make, as long as I'm making something, I don't care if I make the maximum amount of money possible.
I think one of the things people forget about with Q4 is, yeah, okay, Amazon brings the big numbers for like Star Wars toys, but if you're able to get a few Star Wars toys, they'll.
Is it just me or is he cutting out?
Yeah, he's cutting out pretty bad.
Just froze, I think.
Yeah, he froze.
Yeah.
Get that internet fixed, John.
Yeah.
But
Probably, Eric, you should have like a T1 server or something like that.
yeah, I mean, I am ramping up. Basically everything that I sell, it's either really high ranking and I know it'll sell really fast, like really good ranking, I mean, or it's like if I find a toy that's 500,000 ranking, that's $3.99 new in the box at Goodwill, I'll send that in and just price it up a little bit over everybody else, just so that it shows up on the front page or the first page of the used listings, and I'll just let it sit there until quarter four comes around. Then get $50 or $60 for it.
Yeah.
Like video game systems, I'll price up a little bit. Just because I know, like right now, you can't sell a Wii for more than $40 or $50. But, what's that?
What the hell is Dusty doing?
Shaking up fingernail polish that I have to ship out because it's a couple years old. It's still good, but it settles.
You're sure that's what you're doing?
It's got diamond dust stuff in it, and so every time I sell one, I try to because it kind of settles in the bottom of it. And I know that if I don't shake it up, I'm gonna sell it to some idiot that's not gonna shake it up and go, "This was bad."
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think for fourth quarter, this year I kind of did a little change up, and some of the items that I sold really well last year that I noticed sold real well the year before as well. They're kind of no-name items. It's not like a Minions or Star Wars or something like that. It's just a generic item that just continues to sell all the time. So I found some wholesalers distribution on those exact items that I know, like they're sitting in like a couple of thousand in rank right now. Like they're selling great already, but they go into the hundreds by Christmas time. So I bought large quantities of those this year, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, definitely let us know on the wholesale end. I mean, private label's still the new hotness. It's still what everybody's talking about, but there's still a ton of money to be made in wholesale if you can find a good wholesale distributor. I'm probably, that reminds me. I've got a couple of things that I've been kind of dabbling with. They don't seem to be selling very well, but the listings are horrible on them. And I know if I just improve the listings and maybe start working on using like pay-per-click campaigns and all that advertising, which I do nothing with. I don't even have a repricer. I do everything by hand. I just go in every couple weeks and double check my inventory, see what's there, and decide what I want to sell now and what I don't mind sitting on for a little longer. And I mean, I feel like if I started getting into all that other stuff, that would probably be able to blow through a lot more product a lot faster. But
I can tell you this, Dusty talked to me about it, and it seems like Dusty's always telling me shit, and I end up doing it, but it ends up working out good for me. But he was like, just change a couple of things on the listing, and, they'll give you the buy box. And I was like, okay, well, I'll try. So I took a couple of items, actually like 4 items, that they had crap pictures, and there wasn't a whole lot of description, and it took me like literally 5 minutes to do all 4 of them. And all I did was just took a couple of pictures, better pictures, put them up there, and now I have the buy box, and I've sold out on all 4 of those items. Like, it starts selling better. It's amazing the difference it makes just you messing with the listing.
Especially if you find were there other people on it, or was it a dead listing?
No, it was other people were on it. It was selling like most of them were selling. They went up above 120, 130,000. And then once I made the changes and they put me in the buy box, I was at the same price as everybody else. I didn't undercut anybody. And it ended up going, well, 2 of them ended up going to like 40-some thousand, and then the other 2 are like at 60.
Well, what a lot of people don't realize, a lot of times on listings, is that if you see a really crappy picture, it's not one that's locked to that particular ASIN or whatever, that it's probably displaying that picture because of the person that currently has the buy box. If they sell out and that picture goes away, I mean, there are pictures that have been uploaded when it was created, but sometimes it doesn't have, like for that certain listings, it doesn't have a picture attached to it, so it is simply knows to show, when I say it, the Amazon system knows to show the picture of the current seller. So if that guy goes away, people don't always check the quality alerts. I know Mike does, because he was talking about checking suppressed listings in one of his videos recently and stuff like that. If just tweak the listing a little bit, change the title, make it a better title, and then when you have the buy box, it will display. If you have page control, sometimes there's more to it than that. I could fill a whole show with it, but yeah, don't be afraid to make changes on a crappy listing. Don't just scan your barcode and go, oh, well, that sucks, and there's no picture, and the title's all jacked up, and the words are run together, and nobody's ever going to find it. If it's worth doing, and you have several of that item, or it's an expensive item, change it.
It's so easy to change it. I change stuff all the time. Like I'll add bullet points. If you don't know how to do copy, if you don't know like what you should do for your bullet points, here's what I do. I just, like, if I have, say, I don't know, a bottle of Goo Gone, and I want to change the list, like the listing sucks. First off, I look at all the like the front label, it tells you right there. It's like remove stickers, gummy messes, crayon marks, gooey messes, blah blah blah. The #1 brand for sticky, gummy, gooey problems. You can use those for bullet points. It's so dumb, but yeah, you just had
It's called copy. Copy it off.
Exactly. And then I'll just get on Google and I'll type in Goo Gone, and then I'll go to their website, and there's almost definitely going to be a page where there's like 5 or 6 bullet points. Just copy and paste them, put them on the Amazon listing. I mean, you're not stealing anything because they want their product represented correctly everywhere it's being sold. They put all the effort into doing that, like creating the copy, so they're not going to get mad at you for taking and using copy to sell their product somewhere else.
Same thing with photos too. That's one of the things I did was off of the website. They have probably the best photos. They're paying big bucks to have their item look good. You can always go, for photos as well. If you can get them off of the site, some of them are weird and end up with a thumbnail or whatever. But
yeah. But you can always check Google Images, and then you'll have, like, a lot of times the first 10 photos are the same photo, but it's just different sizes and different formats.
Mhm.
You know, so you just find the best one for Amazon and upload it.
Sabine asked, do you have to contact Amazon to change the listing? You need to. Here's the way I do it. Let's take this. I'm trying to look around and see what I have with a barcode. Almond butter. If you're going to list on this, you want to change it. It's all crappy. It's whatever else. Go ahead and list it. And then once the item is in your inventory, go in and click Edit. Change all the stuff you want to in those tabs in there. There'll be 4 or 5 tabs. One is your offer page. One is your item specifics. One is the title, whatever. Change it all in there, and then go over to Contact Seller Support. I can't remember where it's at. Contact Seller Support, Selling on Amazon. Crap, I'd have to look at it. I want to change detail product page or whatever, and it's going to ask you, okay, which ASIN do you want to change? Put in the ASIN for that particular item, and then request to have, it'll give you a drop-down menu, title, bullet points, photo, whatever else, but you need to be listed on the item. Because if not, they're going to kick it back, and they're going to reply to the case, and they're going to go, we see where you're not listing. They need you to be what they call a page contributor. So you need to be on that listing, contributing to that page. So like I said, list it first, go find it in your inventory, edit it, and make those changes, and then open a case to have those changed.
You don't have to have any available for sale. You just have to have it listed in your inventory like you want to sell it.
Right.
Because, like, you know how if you're sending something into FBA, it'll say 0 available in your inventory until it actually shows up at the Amazon warehouse. As long as it's
it needs to be in inventory.
It is in inventory. You don't. Yeah, it's in inventory even if you have 0 available. If
you're putting in an FBA shipment, it's going to show 0. Go ahead and go through, add it to your shipment.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to show 0 available, but it's
Amazon. Yeah, Amazon knows that it's on its way.
So you can do it right away then, because you said wait till it gets into your inventory. That's why I was.
Oh, I meant wait till it gets in. You know how sometimes there's a delay when you click
it takes like 2 minutes
before it shows up. It takes 2 or 3 minutes. It'll tell you up to 15 minutes or whatever. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Well, I have a question for that too. So let's say I'm just adding information or whatever, and I do all the things that you talk about. My question is, if I put keywords in, and somebody else puts, let's say 3 people are on the listing, everybody puts different keywords into that, the section where you can add keywords, search terms or whatever. Do they all get used, or is it just the one person that owns that listing? You know what I mean?
I don't really know the answer.
Keywords are kind of invisible, and
to that,
you're actually in the listing.
I don't really know.
But let's say, for instance, I have one of those weird keywords that just happens to bring up this item, but it has really no relation to that item, and I put that on the item, but somebody else has the basic keyword. So all I put is that one keyword, and all the basics are in somebody else's. Are they?
No, it's not in somebody else's. It's not an individual listing. Okay, so imagine. It'd be kind of like on eBay. So if you make an eBay listing, you create it, and there's 20 people selling this item, and they all have to use the same listing. And whenever one gets bought, then it kind of randomly gets one of the people on the listing gets contacted, like, hey, you're sold. But everybody's using the same listing. Everybody's contributing stuff. So if you add a bullet point, it doesn't erase the old bullet points.
Not the bullet point.
But it would be the same thing with the keywords. I mean, if you add a keyword, all the other keywords are still going to be there. You're just adding on the list. I mean, you only have so many keywords, though, so you might have to delete a keyword or whatever to add another one at some point, I guess. But
I don't know. I don't know what the search. I know what you're saying. What the search engine does behind the scenes, like, I have an item that doesn't have the brand in the title, but it pulls up when you search it by the brand. I know for a fact that the brand is in my keywords. Is it pulling that up because of my keywords or the other 3 sellers' keywords? That I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Where's that echo coming from all of a sudden? Oh, Deb. Yeah, Deb is echoing like crazy.
I did.
Bye, Deb. But
I
I
did.
mean, I feel like that's something that's really important coming into quarter four. If you need an excuse to do it at all, like to sit down and figure out what listings you need to tweak and fix, might as well just do it now while you have time. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be working a lot more or a lot harder during quarter four this year. I'm not going to be like rushing out to make sure that I have tons of inventory. I've never done replens on Amazon. Nope, you're good now, Deb. I've never really done replens. I've never really found any. It's weird because I'm just in and out on stuff. I feel like when I find something that sells well and I can replan it, then by the time I buy it and then send it in and it sells, and then I go and look it up again, then the price is tanked on it almost every time. You know, like a bunch of other people got onto it, and instead of buying it for $5 and selling it for $20, now I got to buy it for $5 and sell it for $9 and make 50 cents.
I think the biggest change that I made last year, based on what you're talking about, was that I started looking in places that people aren't going.
That's the key.
And that's why I hardly hit any of the big box stores. The only time I do is when somebody like John or somebody gives me a bolo and I'll run out there and grab them. But other than that, I really don't go there hunting for it.
Yeah.
I don't give bolos.
Well, you give them to me.
Well, and I saw a lot of, and Mike and I shared a lot of information back and forth last year, and I saw a lot of the, I don't know if you know which stores I'm talking about. I don't know that if I would consider those big box, but they're definitely stores that have.
They're the mid stores. They're like the guys. They're not huge. They're not like Walmart and Target and all that, but they're right in the middle. I mean, they're like the Dollar Trees and all those different dollar stores. But if you can find the little dollar store, that it's only a chain of 3 of them locally or something like that, nobody else is getting that stuff. And that's the kind of places that, I started looking at, especially if they have, like, for fourth quarter toys. I mean, for me, I don't do, I know a lot of people are looking for Christmas this and Christmas that, whatever the shoe with Christmas on it or, all that. For me, I just do toys. I mean, last year, 50% of my fourth quarter sales were toys. And that's all I focus. Like, I almost get away completely from the health and beauty stuff and all of that stuff that makes me money all year round. I almost completely give it up. I'm doing it part time, so I don't have. I mean, if I had the full time, I probably would do both. But
yeah, I don't chase seasons.
I mean, I'm headed for the low hanging fruit, man, and I'm trying to get all the toys I possibly can that I know are gonna sell. And so quickly. And my biggest problem last year, which I won't have this year, was I would buy an item, list it, ship it in at, let's say I put it up, it's selling at $15, so I put mine for $20. By the time it gets there, they're already selling at $28. Like, and mine sell out at $20, and I'm like, I end up losing out $8 on every item, and I'm sending in like 30, 40 of them. But I have that fixed now for this year. I have a repricer that reprices before the item ever gets there, based on whatever's going on at the time. So.
Yeah, I think I need to look into getting a repricer. What repricer are you using?
That's called Be Cool. It's BQOOL.
And
it's the one that I was going to do a video on. I was waiting for these guys to come up with an affiliate thing, but they never did. So I'm just going to probably just do a video on it, just throw it up there.
Yeah, it's amazing how much paying somebody to help to like advertise your stuff for you incentivizes them to actually do it. I mean, I don't know.
That's the thing, is this place didn't even have. They had to send it up to their corporate office or whatever to get an affiliate, and then it's taken weeks now to get back to me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've got to be cool. I'm gonna look into that. Because I definitely need to get a repricer. That's next on my list, and I'm gonna be trying out Inventory Labs as well, probably this week. This next shipment. Once I get this one done. The next shipment I do, I'm going to do with Inventory Labs just to see how it goes. Because I'm honestly, that new page, the new item, like the new beta page that they're using for inventory. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like when you try to put an item in, and then you hit sell yours, and that page comes up. Hate it.
Hey,
Oh
well,
my
make sure
God.
you let them know. Go down to the bottom.
I
Every
did.
page like that. Go down the bottom, put rate it, because they've already made some changes to it.
Every single time I see that freaking thing pop up, I go straight to the bottom before I do anything and hit 1 star, 1 star. And the first few times, I actually told them what was wrong. I filled in all the boxes. Now, I'm like, screw it. I'm not even going to tell them what's wrong anymore. I already did. Now I just hit 1 star. I mean, it's so annoying. The thing that I hate about it,
No, go ahead. Sorry.
it's the same freaking page, except they got rid of probably the most useful part of it, the little bar on the top that tells you the ranking, the price of the item, what it's selling for new and used, so that you don't have to go and look up, like, do a bunch of extra clicks to figure out what you want to price your stuff at. And then when you click through, it goes straight to your inventory. It doesn't go straight to your FBA shipment.
Well, they started adding now. If you start looking at it here in the near future, you'll see that they've already added some of not all the categories, but some of the categories they've put that on the top back up there. So yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, I've probably sent it 20 times now.
Yep.
It goes directly to my inventory. I can't find the item.
And then you got to wait 5 minutes for it to refresh. You got to sit there refreshing your inventory until it pops up, and then you've got to refresh it more until you can finally replenish and send the inventory in.
I'll tell you an easy way. This is a little trick that I did. Is I do a listing search. So I'll go through I'll have my entire inventory up, and then I'll search like a word that's just a made up word. Like I'll just tap a bunch of keys on the keyboard, right? And then I'll hit search. And then I'll take that and make it a favorite. So every time whenever I click on that favorite, it's called listing search, and then I don't have to go through the whole waiting for the thing to refresh. I can just type in the name. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it works. I do the same thing with add an item, so I don't have to click a couple of clicks. I just have a favorite that's add an item.
Yeah, but I mean,
I have that for the scan and label.
Yeah.
I have it right at the top of my screen. Scan and label is right there, so when I need to make a label, I just click that and scan. I don't have to click, 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 and then get to scan and label.
Yeah, the listing search thing is like it makes all the difference because I don't have to go through my entire inventory, wait for it to load, wait for everything to load on the screen. It just, I mean, you click it, it's right there because there's no listings in that search. Because it's just a weird search. And then you can just type in the name of whatever it is you're searching for, or the ASIN or whatever it is. You can copy and paste the ASIN or whatever.
Well, I mean, it just takes time for it to show up in your inventory, period. Like, it's not instant. It takes a couple minutes. You know, like it's not in your inventory. I mean, it's the way that mine's set up, whatever I just put in, the last item is at the top of my inventory anyway. So I don't have to do any of that. It just appears at the top once it finally gets into the inventory. I mean, I probably wasted an hour total on this last shipment just waiting for my inventory to refresh so that I could send it in. When before, like when it worked normally, I could just ship it goes straight to my FBA shipment and it's in. So it's very frustrating.
Yeah, well, hopefully I'm doing the same thing as you. I already signed up for Inventory Lab. I actually have it. I just didn't. I have finished out this last order without it, but I have a online a big OA order coming in, so I'll be doing that one on Inventory Lab. We'll see how it goes.
Nice.
I think they're gonna do well. They just put it out that they're not gonna do it this fourth quarter, but they're supposed to have a repricer in Inventory Lab.
They released that email yesterday. Did you see that?
Yeah, it's not going to come out fourth quarter, but probably in the first quarter or so. I guess because so many people are getting in the Inventory Lab, they're getting, I guess, a lot of people coming in. So they had to focus on other places. So, but it looks pretty cool so far from what I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, if they could add a repricer too, that's everything, right? They've got the sourcing software, or the like where you can look up prices on items, the barcode scanner, the inventory management, the reports, the profit reports, the like they did. Yeah, they'll have everything covered if they get the repricer set up right.
Yeah, that was one thing I have to talk to them about because I got Scoutify, the thing that they use, but I couldn't get the Bluetooth scanner to work on it. So
Oh, really?
My
yeah.
Bluetooth scanner stopped working on Profit Bandit. I cannot get it to connect.
Did you look the? I know their Facebook group. Somebody was asking about scanners the other day about getting it set up, and so I know somebody posted a link.
Yeah, I tried 2 different methods that I looked up because it's the thing with Scoutify. It's different. You have to do it as a keyboard thing. So the cursor has to be in the field so that it'll scan it, but I couldn't get it to do it. So I just switched it back to the way it was with Profit Bandit and kept it like that.
I mean, my Profit Bandit, it was fine the last time that I used it, and then I lost my fob for like 3 months. I don't know what happened, or I didn't know what happened to it. I had put it in a jacket pocket, and then I'm sitting there going through my jackets because, it's getting cold out, and I was trying to, like, figure out, what I'm actually going to be using, but I found that jacket, or I found the fob in my pocket, like, okay. So I turn it on, go back in, and it wouldn't work. It wouldn't connect at all. It wouldn't beep. I don't know what's wrong with it, but it's...
You probably need to go through that scanning thing. Do you have the paperwork on it still?
No, mine didn't come with the paperwork. I bought mine from Adam, and he didn't...
I have the paperwork. I can send you some photos of it, and you can use it.
Okay.
To reinitiate it.
We should upload that to the Reseller Wakeup Facebook group since Adam was selling them for so long. I think he's probably still got a couple of those fobs left.
I think they have it on the site for the Unitech.
Oh, do they?
I think it's on their site too, but I'll send it to you and you can upload it or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, if any of you guys have that Unitech scanner fob and you ever have issues, there's this sheet that you can get full of barcodes, and it'll, like, if you scan a certain barcode, it'll do different stuff. So we'll go ahead and upload that so that it's easy access for everybody.
Yeah, it's the entire instruction manual. I think it's like 10, 15 pages. So.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, my eBay sales have been weird. I mean, I haven't been listing a lot, and I've been trying to list just higher priced items. So stuff's been selling, and it's when I get a sale, it's like $100 or whatever. $50, $80, $100. So I'm happy about that. But it's like every couple days I'll get a sale. But I've only got like 100 items listed at the moment. Need to get back in my old days of 10 sales a day. That'd be nice, but
I was going to share this. Again, it's that wholesale formula guys. I think it's the wholesaleformula.com or whatever. They sent it out on. They tweeted it out, but it's this whole thing on exactly how to get rid of bad feedback. Like it's a whole walkthrough. You just answer the questions yes or no, what type of feedback it is, and it's just everything you need to do exactly, like even copy and paste and whatever to do the messages. Like if you don't get it removed or it looks like it's potential of not being able to be removed, so all that kind of stuff. It's really just an amazing little walkthrough.
Yeah, it's not that hard. I mean, I've probably gotten a dozen negative feedbacks, and I've gotten every one of them removed except for one.
Well,
but I definitely need to see if I can get that last one removed. I've tried 2 or 3 times, and they keep coming back saying no.
And that's what this has, like, the things to actually say. Like, like this one here is customer acknowledged that the product matched the Amazon detail page. The customer complaint is exclusively related to Amazon's performance. Please remove this feedback. I mean, it just has stuff to, like I said, copy and paste right into there that's going to speak the language of what they want to hear to get it removed. And, I mean, they're doing it. So, anyway, it's those guys, the wholesale formula guys. and I believe it's on their website. You'll probably have to sign up with an email if you want to get on that kind of stuff. But they're always putting out really cool stuff, man.
Okay, so this Be Cool says that you can manage repricing, feedback, and reviews
Yeah, you
on
can.
Amazon as well. How does it help out with the feedback? Does it just make
You gotta, it's 3 different things that you can pay for. So I don't
okay.
pay for the other 2. I don't, at least not yet. I'm pretty sure I'm going to start doing the feedback thing. Just because it works so well on eBay for me. And,
How many feedback are you up to on eBay now?
eBay? I don't know. I don't sell that much stuff on eBay, so I think I'm only like at 200 and something, 280 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, now that I've gotten like way smaller on my sales, my feedback I seem to be getting a bigger percentage and a bigger proportion of individual feedbacks from customers. I don't know what it is, but it's like probably over half of my sales I get feedback for. But I mean, a year ago when I was doing a dozen sales a day, then I was getting like 1 feedback per. It's kind of weird, but.
Well, with that KI feedback thing that I used, I talked about this before last year when I actually got it. I was getting like 10%, 15% feedback, something weird. It was crazy. I wasn't getting any.
Mm-hmm.
And then I signed up for that, and it immediately like went up to like 70, 80%.
Wow.
People were leaving feedback like every single time they bought something. I don't know if it was me or what it was, but it definitely worked out for me. And that thing was so cheap. I mean, the KI feedback is so super cheap that.
Brian got a Doges.
I mean.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Rough.
So now I want to try that other one, but I haven't signed up for it yet. I'm just thinking I'm selling thousands of items every month, and I'm only getting. I mean, I have still probably I have right around the same amount of feedback on eBay as I do Amazon.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, my Amazon is. I think I have 50 feedback on Amazon or something like that. I mean, you don't get a whole lot of feedback from them. But anyway, I don't know. What do you think, guys? Should we wrap this up? It's getting pretty late. Went a little over, but yeah, we're trying to do at least an hour every day. If I've got time, I'll keep it going for as long as we can. But I do have some stuff to do today, so I want to get that done. Hopefully, at least got the conversation started on Q4 a little bit for y'all. Got your juices flowing, thinking about what you should be doing. But we're going to be talking a lot more about it over the next few months. I mean, I feel like this is the busiest time of year for most resellers, and it's an important time of year. I mean, I know people that literally this is all they do, and they only work a few months out of the year. I mean, like right now they're just starting to get back into it and get stuff listed and get stuff sold or whatever. And after December, they'll probably shut everything down again, stick it in a storage unit, and forget about it until next year. But I mean, I think that's kind of where I want to be in a few years. I mean, my goal on this, the reason I do this is because I don't like working. I like to feel like I don't, I mean, I don't mind doing the work, but I'm the guy, I want to sit there and, have my time mean something. I don't like to sit in front of a computer pretending I'm working. If I'm doing it, I want to be I like being productive the whole time that I'm doing it. And, I feel like when I had a job, I spent a lot of time just horse and pony show pretending I was doing stuff just to make the bosses happy or whatever. Feel like this, it's like if I'm working, I'm working. If I'm not, I'm not. And the better I get at this, the less I have to work. And it just frees up a lot of time to do basically whatever else I want to be doing. But that's ultimately the goal, right? Just get to the point where not doing a whole lot of anything that I don't want to be doing. I'm just handling the aspects that I want to do and then let everybody find somebody to take care of the rest of it. That's the next step. But
Yep.
The Reseller Wakeup is the Facebook group. It's where we post the latest episode of the show. I also do tip videos, haul videos, all that stuff. So there's everybody else on the show here. We try and keep stuff pretty light in there. But if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, you can post them over there. You can also post them in the comment section below. Once the show goes off air, we'll see all those. And Resale Ronin on Facebook and Twitter. Does anybody have any shout-outs or anything that they want to talk about before we go off today?
I got a new Twitter account now, so it's at Picker Army.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Popped up.
In case you don't know, I got an emotional support doggy.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, the doggy's like, how are you feeling today?
You're the therapy dog. Then I got to go for it.
The dog says, just lay down right here, sir, and tell me about your day.
Right.
Let me rub your back.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we'll see everybody on Monday. Like I said, leave those comments, suggestions. I got the suggestion for this topic today from the Cherry Vintage. She left a comment from the show on Wednesday. So if you want to see more stuff like this, hit that thumbs up button. It definitely makes us gives us an idea of what you like, and hit that subscribe button if you want to.
Thumbs.
Huh?
I said Paul is motivated by thumbs.
Yeah, I'm motivated by thumbs. But the subscribe button, hit that if you want to be updated on new videos. But thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you all Monday. Bitcoin.